Today I want to talk about an interesting topic, which is what drives me as a general partner and as a limited partner. Now, it's an interesting question because I got asked this question a lot. Hi, my name is Perry Zhang. I'm the founder and CEO of Pallas, a Y Combinator-backed technology startup that helps you invest in real estate syndications passively. Now, my background is in software engineering. I was a software engineer at Amazon, Twitter, and Lyft. Became an engineer manager, then started investing in single family and multifamilies. Now I have more than 1,000 units as a general partner located in Texas. I basically have two companies, Pallas and Cashflow Portal, and I am still very involved day to day in product and engineering, sales, marketing, and still have the time to do YouTube videos. And so what drives me as a general partner? Let's start with that. Obviously, the answer is I just found the subject of real estate super interesting and that it makes me want to just figure it out. I know when I first started, people ask me what made you go into multifamily from single family. And the answer is usually, I bought 7 single families. I maxed out my debt to income ratio. Multifamily is the natural progression to get to the next step. But sometimes, at the time, you wouldn't know what really drives you. It's just like, this is a new territory for me. I'm going to figure it out. And that was very interesting. That's almost exciting that it's something that I don't know and I got good at it. It's only in retrospect can you make sense of the things that happen, right? You can only connect the dots backwards and not forwards. And I think right now, if I really need to look back on what made me got into syndication, is, and I mentioned this before too, which is in college and after college, I have some incredibly intelligent, smart friends. And I often joke that people who are incredibly smart don't really get into real estate.
Look at Steve Jobs.
And I got into real estate maybe because of this thing that I don't think I'm that smart, right? But I compensate for a lack of intelligence with hard work. Real estate almost represents this huge intersection of intelligence, a lot of grinding, a lot of hard work, and this patience over many years. And so I think those characteristics are things that I'm naturally attracted to, that I'm very good at delayed gratification. And I like things that kind of cater to my strengths. So, and then the question, maybe a level deeper than that is, why am I attracted to things that cater to my strength? It's perhaps I have always been achievement driven. And so it's not exactly something I'm proud of. It's just who I am. And so I came to the realization that what really drives me is that self-actualization is this kind of burning desire to find something that I feel like I can be good at and something I find very interesting. And then the more I get to know about it, the more like I feel, okay, this is really something interesting. And that further propels my desire to get better at it. Now, little did I know that real estate syndication is not exactly real estate. I will do a separate video on that. It's closer to business than to real estate. You're buying a business. You're not creating a business from scratch, but you're buying a business that is making real profit, real income, and have real expenses. And you do need to manage all the vendors and also the property management company and also other co-sponsors and so on, and your investors. So it developed this really holistic set of skills that I think are tremendously valuable. And it allows you to see almost a bigger world that otherwise will not see. So it has been a tremendously rewarding journey for me that I got to know a lot of very interesting people and learn a lot in the process.
Glad to meet you.
Absolutely zero regrets. In fact, probably one of the best things that happened to my life. So that's what I will say about what drives me as a general partner. Now let's talk about what drives me as a limited partner. What drives me as a limited partner is access. Why do I basically spend probably many more years and even the rest of my life on this industry is access. It's access for everyone. And now that might have to do something, if I really think deeply about it, it may have something to do with how I was brought up. So I grew up, my parents are Chinese immigrants. We're lower middle class. They owned a Chinese restaurant, and I used to joke that they work 364 days a year, except for that one day called Thanksgiving, which we had the restaurant closed. And till this day on Thanksgiving, we go on vacations to celebrate how rare it was to have their day off. They own a humble small Chinese restaurant, so they work really, really hard. And so with that kind of background, I did well in high school. I was achievement driven. I remember one day waking up that, hey, I want to like succeed in school. So what's the best way to get into a good college? My school was good, but not, great. And so I ended up taking 15 AP exams in high school, but my school only offered like 6 of them. So I self-studied 9 of them myself. And how did I do it? I basically went to Barnes and Nobles and picked up a bunch of Princeton Review, prep books, and others. And I studied. I just self-studied them, even though I was not. I didn't take any SAT prep school or anything like that, but I at least have access to a bookstore, right? And that access was important for me to almost like moving up the social hierarchy by studying. At the time when I applied to colleges, I was actually applying as a Chinese international student. I was, rated as every other international student. I got into a great university, but I think based on just the scores, I think I could have also gone to a really, really school as well. Now, the college I went to was amazing. I met a lot of great people and so on. It basically was the entry point for me to see a bigger world and to learn a lot of cool things. And that access, I am forever grateful for. Now, if you put that point of access into today's world, I do know that everyone craves financial freedom. Financial freedom allows them to do more interesting things in life and not being burdened by their socioeconomic conditions. But in order to do that, there is a clear problem statement, which is the upper class, the super wealthy, have certain level of access that the middle class does not have. So I want to level the playing field between the middle class and the ultra wealthy by providing access. And that access is important to me. I wish I had that access, right? Now, the way I knew about syndication was just basically, go to conferences, super motivated, super achievement driven, and to know that. But technology is a great equalizer. And I just also happen to come from technology. So why not applying that equalizer to the world of finance and real estate investing? I'll give you a case in point. All right, case in point is in the last, say, 20 years, if you are a investor in this fund called A16Z and Andreessen Horowitz, you are making like a 30 to 40% annualized return for the last 20 years because they just did tremendously well. And they are able to do tremendously well because they invest in the top operators and the top founders, like technology founders. But the problem is that you will not get a piece of that as a middle class person because the minimum investment is like 50 million or something outrageous like that. That's why the rich gets richer.
That's the truth.
What if you can invest in the future by being one of the people that could be part of that fund that invests in great operators? So that's point number 1, which is access. Point number 2 is also very interesting, which is one of my favorite movies is this movie called Good Will Hunting.
Do you like apples?
There is this professor who has all the flaws in the world, but when they saw Will, who is a genius, and he understood that very well, that even despite all his, worldly accolades, that this Will is a lot smarter than he is. And you know enough to know that you're not that good. And you know enough to know that, okay, if I were to do something like this person clearly is more passionate than I am. This person clearly is more competent than I am. So why do I do all this hard work of trying to buy this, whether it's a business, franchise, multifamily, self-storage, or even startups? Why am I doing all this work? Why don't I just put my money with them? And that idea of like knowing that you know enough about the subject such that you're not the best on it, or you're not willing to spend that amount of time to be really good at it. But instead, you have the access or the opportunity to invest with someone that's really good. That is really powerful, right? That means like your risk to reward ratio just approaches infinity. You identify the person that you like and you invest with them, and then you don't do anything after that. And so that whole idea is very appealing to me. And to be honest, now that I study a little bit more history about investing, this is exactly like stocks. right? Stocks allow you to invest in things that are operated by very competent people that not everyone can do, but you can share the profit as a result. Bringing kind of this open market or this idea of access and transparency and accountability into the world of alternative investing is something that I feel is worthwhile. And out of that kind of mantra, I realized it's really hard to build trust online. So then what can we do to foster trust and access? I want to do a quick video on what drives me and as a general partner and as a limited partner. And that might provide a flavor on why we care about Pallas so much. For a lot of you who probably know, we are part of Y Combinator. Y Combinator is called Casual Portal. Initially, I actually applied to Y Combinator as the initial conception of a marketplace. But in order to get to marketplace, you need both sides. You need the supply and you need the demand. And the supply is the tool, which is Casual Portal. The reason we're creating this YouTube channel is to attract very sophisticated investors that, we're not looking for like people who just want to YOLO their money, but who really, really want to grow their financial freedom and like know enough about this industry or are keenly aware that they respect this industry and know that they are not like good enough to be an operator or too busy to be an operator. By the way, there's no shame in that. In fact, I probably will become more of a limited partner than a general partner in the future, because now that I know the good operators, why am I spending so much time being a general partner? You almost come at this full circle. So yeah, Pallas is for those who kind of know enough to be dangerous, but also know enough to know their limits, such that it's so much better to identify a good operator and put their money in those folks. So thanks for watching again, and happy investing. I hope this is useful and provides some context on why we built Pallas. Thanks.